Hello and welcome to this FPL Gameweek 17 edition of FPL Hacks with me, Holly Shand. Today I'll be guiding you through the midweek madness. Yes, we've got another midweek deadline coming on Tuesday at 6 p.m. for FPL Gameweek 17. Do not miss it. Here are my top 5 tips to get you prepared for all of that midweek madness. Let's get into it. First things first then, when it comes to setting up your team and deciding on your transfers, selection and captaincy, information is going to be key this week. We've already seen one Premier League game at the weekend postponed due to an outbreak of COVID-19 amongst the Spurs squad. That could also put into jeopardy their fixture against Leicester in game week 17, which comes on Thursday the 16th of December. We may or may not get news of whether that fixture is on or not until very close to Tuesday's deadline. Hopefully we get confirmation either way before the deadline on Tuesday. We're also going to have managers' press conferences from most teams ahead of the Tuesday deadline as well. So I would certainly hang on to those transfers until we've got maximum information on the games that are going to go ahead and the availability of the various players involved in them. So it's not a week to make the transfers early unless you've got exact funds to do so, because we could see a lot of disruption, and if you've got the full picture, then that should help you to make the best FPL decisions possible for your fantasy team. Now, unfortunately, we saw some players pick up a suspension last weekend. Raul Jimenez was sent off against Manchester City. He will miss game week 17, as will Manchester City's defender, João Cancelo. Now, if you own Cancelo, we were probably expecting a rest at some point over the festive period, so I recommend that you hold on to him and just see that fixture as being his rest and hope that he then plays the next 4 fixtures going into December up to New Year. Still a very good run of fixtures for Manchester City after the Leeds game this midweek. They've got Newcastle, Leicester, Brentford and Arsenal. You certainly don't want to be selling Cancelo because you'll more than likely want him back, and his price has gone up a lot this season, especially if you got him early. We've seen his price rise from 6 million to 6.8 million. So if you've been on him from the start, if you sell him, then you'll sell him for 6.4 million and you'll have to pay an extra 0.3 or 0.4 potentially to get him back in your team for a future week. Transfers are very precious at this point in the season. We've seen that Manchester City are one of the best defences in the Premier League this season. 9 clean sheets ranks them second of all teams, and Cancelo with 5 assists ranks him very highly among defenders for attacking output. He's played every single game for Manchester City this season, missing just 13 minutes. So he's a great fantasy option for the long term. So don't think short term, use your bench and keep him in your side. Talking of our fantasy benches then, we've seen how important this has been in recent weeks to have a strong bench. So if you've got players suspended this week, you will need your bench, and especially if we get another postponement due to the situation at Spurs. They've already had 2 games postponed this season, one due to COVID, one due to poor weather. So if you're looking at your bench and you've got players in there that don't start, now is the time to move them on. There's some great budget options out there in all the positions to help you through. We've got Watford's Backman goalkeeper if you needed a new goalkeeper on the cheap. We've also looking at the defence. We've got Diogo Dalot, who seems to be getting a starting berth at Manchester United. Aston Villa's Douglas Luiz is providing plenty of chances for his teammates if you're looking for a cheapie in midfield. And we've seen at Southampton that Broja has been seeing plenty of minutes. He started the season at 5 million. So all good options to pick up to improve your bench if you do have issues and you need the cover on the bench. We do tend to see a lot of rotation in our squads for these midweek round of fixtures. And don't be afraid of having expensive players on your bench, because it's in this period of the season where you'll find that you're using those players more often than not. So if you've only got Salah as a premium player, spread those funds around the whole of your squad, because it's more than likely that you'll need to call on your bench sooner or later. Now, because of the rotation that we've seen this season, I would also say don't make luxury transfers this week. It's very easy to see, oh, well, there's a player in form, I really want to hop on board, but maybe the player that you're transferring out has gone through a little bit of a quiet spell for a couple of games, but maybe has good fixtures and could come good. There's nothing more frustrating than taking a big hit on a midweek round of fixtures only to see the player that you've brought in on the bench or not even in the squad and a player that you've transferred out delivering the goods. It is a week where it's very easy to mess up your whole team by making indulgent transfers that aren't necessary and ending up worse off because of them. So just try and minimise the damage and get through this midweek round of fixtures. The best thing you can do if you've already got a strong bench is to roll the transfer and hopefully give you more flexibility when we head into the weekend, particularly if you've only got one free transfer this week. It's the week to be conservative and not make those bold moves. My final tip for the week, which I know I've said this before and I will continue to say it, don't do anything too crazy with the armband. Mo Salah has Newcastle United at home. Newcastle United have been one of the worst defences in the Premier League this season. Play it safe, put the armband on Mo Salah. Now, he has the potential to get rotated like any other player this week, but I was happy to see him not playing the full 90 minutes in the Champions League last midweek, which hopefully leaves him a little bit fresher for this game. And if he does miss out and you've given him the armband, then at least you are in the same boat as most managers who will give him the armband. But do also have a think about the vice captaincy. Don't just put it on anyone. Have a good look through and think about who else you would want to have the armband if Salah was in for some reason to miss out altogether. But I think Mo Salah against Newcastle United is one of the best captain options of the season, and if it wasn't for being a midweek round of fixtures, I'd even be considering using that triple captainship. Now, I hope you found that advice useful ahead of the midweek madness. I'll say it again, the deadline is on Tuesday at 6 p.m. Do not miss it. If you've got any dilemmas about your own fantasy team, do get in the comments and I'll do my best to answer all of them ahead of the deadline. And all that remains for me to say is good luck for FPL Gameweek 17.